As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. I was born into freedom in a wonderful land of mountains and plains, rivers and lakes. Forever American is what I am. A past as rich as any can be. My father's worked hard to give this to me. I love this place I come from. To live another way I cannot foresee. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. As an American, I've been to the peaks of majestic mountains where the air is sweet. I've watched the eagle as it soars in beautiful skies that just can't be ignored. And by this country I'll always stand, for freedom and liberty for every man. When times are hard and things get rough, America always stands ready and rough. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. How's everyone doing today? God bless you guys for all being here. Hi, Kalinda. Hi, Nana. Hi, Debbie Rogers. Hi, Debbie Martin. Hi, Pam. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Richard. Hi, Matt. Hi, Rodney. Hi, Bill. Hi, DK. Hi, Tia. Hi, Dana. How you guys all doing tonight? God bless you all. Thank you for that donation. Dana. It was Dana that sent that earlier today. God bless you guys for the donations. We definitely appreciate that. Got a lot going on every day. More stuff going on, of course. Of course, I'm posting videos as well. You guys make sure you share those out when I do. Definitely appreciate that. But this is ridiculous. I mean, everything that we have going on politically. I mean, the charges and the Trump and the Georgia charges are ridiculous at this point. Basically, they're going to go after Trump for a phone call, supposedly over emails and other things, and efforts to overturn his election loss. This is ridiculous. They're not just going after Trump, they're going after, of course, 19 other defendants. This is a 98-page indictment. I mean, 41 criminal counts in all, and 90% of them are bogus. Bogus criminal counts like conspiracy to unlawfully change the outcome of an election in favor of Trump. How? How is that a conspiracy? They weren't trying to unlawfully do it. They were trying to make sure the votes were verified. This case all stems from the January 2nd phone call, which Trump urged Georgia's top official to find enough votes to reverse his narrow loss in the state. Find enough votes doesn't sound like make up the votes, does it? Does it say plagiarize the votes? Does it say manufacture the votes? It says find the votes. Find out if they were lost. Who knows? I mean, we know what happened 4 days later. Of course, during his speech, people made a bad decision to go inside of the Capitol. Whether they should have been allowed to enter the Capitol or not, to hear their voices, make their voices heard, is irrelevant at this point. They shouldn't have been legally entered. We can admit that. They weren't as violent, nearly as violent as what news says. But of course, this all is having an impact on Trump's campaign, and that's what they're trying to do with these court dates here. As court dates disrupt his campaign calendar, this is truly collusion of 2024 election. This is election interference at its best. Problems with America now, not just interference in Trump's election, but interference in our rights, which of course we know are happening every day. The extraordinary collision course between Trump's presidential campaign and his massive amounts of legal woes now because they want to keep putting it on display. I mean, the next 2 weeks are stark. Trying to drain his money and trying to prosecute him. I mean, he has 2 weeks scheduled featuring nearly a half a dozen court hearings between all these cases now. A half a dozen court cases hearings in 2 weeks. And depositions and other things. This is crazy. This is a preview of what's to come over the next 15 months as he navigates his re-election bid. The mounting legal issues that are ridiculous. I mean, 91 criminal counts total in 4 jurisdictions. 2 of them are federal, which doesn't make sense because they're separate. This is a joke at this point. I mean, legal fights already burning through Trump's campaign costs or campaign war chest that he has built up to get his 2024 election. But I have a feeling this is going to have the opposite effect on what Democrats think it's going to do. I know they're trying to push, of course, to get all of a sudden, 3 years, no problems. They haven't found anything. They couldn't indict him yet. All of a sudden, it starts showing he's winning in the polls, and they decide to drop another charge. It goes up in the polls, they drop another charge. That's what they've been doing. This is a joke at this point. It is sad. It is un-American at its core. And America's fallen, let's be honest. We're failing at every level of Congress, our Senate, our president. Our president's a joke, the joke of the nations. I mean, we look at what they're doing, it is a sick joke. Not only that, we have more sick jokes, like what's actually happened in Hawaii in these wildfires. That's Hawaii's top power utility company has been now accused of mismanagement, of years of mismanagement before the deadly wildfires. In a lawsuit that's just been obtained, Hawaiian Electric is accused of failing to take action to mitigate the chances of disaster. Yes, this fire was probably started by the biggest utility company in Hawaii. Growing scrutiny for the role it might have played in the deadliest wildfires in modern American history, including detailed allegations in a lawsuit filed today. It was negligent and knowingly failed to take proper actions to prevent catastrophe. Where was the government in this? Where were they? And was this a planned land grab? Was it a planned land grab? Because that's a big question. Because BlackRock, of course, offered to buy this property about a year ago, trying to buy these people out and push them out of this property. Nobody knows why they wanted this property, of course. This is ridiculous, though. The government did not step in and was not regulating this power company, was not enforcing electrical updates that are happening throughout the grid. The negligent part of this is gross negligence at this point. Gross negligence of not just the company, but of the federal government. And Biden, no comment. That's what he has to say about what happened in Hawaii. This is crazy. Hawaii's electric company is declining any comment because there is a pending lawsuit, saying that it would violate internal policy. But the allegations and the remained focus on restoring power to Maui are big issues. I mean, we've got at least 101 people killed in the seaside community, massive loss of property, massive loss of everything. Yep. Setting up Hawaii for a 15-minute digital city. It's crazy. Watching this unfold, though, and this lawsuit, of course, coming forward, showing the Nindergullet that not only the Hawaiian Electric Company, but the federal government had to play here. It is truly appalling. Then we go to Biden trying to tout his Inflation Reduction Act. Its first anniversary. Supposedly he's doing so good in this Inflation Reduction Act that was pitched to lawmakers to clean energy laws and an economic powerhouse for the public. Remains largely ineffective, let's be honest. Billions of dollars in tax credits to supposedly help consumers to buy electric vehicles and companies to produce renewable energy. Oh, wait, we funded private companies again for solar? I remember Obama's administration doing the same thing and lost massively on that program. But of course, Biden did it again, and nobody's talking about the outcomes of this. They're talking about instead, he's trying to push that it was such a great thing, decarbonizing the mighty United States power sector. Never happened, though. Power has pretty much stayed the same. And inflation has not gone down. It might have gone down on other things, but gas and groceries, the two most important things for American citizens, got more expensive. Prices may have stayed down or stayed the same or gone down a little bit on other consumer goods, but the Federal Reserve might not be able to bring inflation under control without tipping the economy into a recession. Of course, the Federal Reserve on notes today after their meeting stated the same thing. Stated we might have to slow the economy to the point of possible collapse in order to tame inflation. While gasoline and grocery prices are getting more expensive, and Americans are having to buy these things at these higher rates. We wonder why the credit for American citizens are up to $1 trillion now. $1 trillion on credit cards right now. That's crazy. Milk went down 20 cents. Oh, butter went up 50. So let's just take that into consideration. It's ridiculous. The market is being railed today after the cost of living reports from the Labor Department. Watching this, I mean, Dow Jones, of course, jumped 400 points this morning. Oh, wait, those are rich people investing. Of course they did. And then we're watching what's happening globally. I mean, globally, China's even having economic woes as amounts the trust firms, of course, missed payments and housing prices are falling. We're directly tied to China's economy, though. China stops selling goods to us or reduces the amount of goods they're producing because their economy is having these missed, fallen, and troubled. It's going to cause more problems. Those problems, of course, are just exaggerated every day. It's getting crazy out there. As people don't wake up, they're not seeing the problem because they're not following it. China's economic slump will deepen America's troubles, prolonging property crisis and higher food prices, and consumer goods are even start to increase again, besides gas and food. All this on the verge of, the American dollar becoming less and less valued day by day. And BRICS, of course, issuing its first South African Rand bond That's right, BRICS Bank. They finally are issuing bonds. The BRICS countries, the so-called BRICS, closed the auction on its first South African bond Tuesday. It's boosting the local currency by fundraising and lending. I mean, the two bonds, one $1 billion Rand bond sold for 53 million US. That's right, 53 million US. It's up from well above what African Rand was actually worth. This is crazy. They succeeded, yeah. They won't stop with Hawaii, and they're not going to stop. Burn it all down is what they're doing, and that's what they wanted to do. I mean, but China's looking at this as a great increase, because it is. I mean, they're projected by 22 to 30% increase in their country's in China's currency, the yuan, by 2026, as de-dollarization takes place. What does that mean for America? Even worse. As costs go up for America, this all happens to affect every single one of us. The rich and the government don't care. They don't care about our citizens. We're sending another $202 million to Ukraine. That's not being announced. It's not even being talked about. Our federal government is more corrupt than any other government in the world at this point. You got FBI shooting a 75-year-old man that's over 350 pounds, supposedly because he's resisting arrest when there was a massive amount of armed FBI agents. Massive amount of armed FBI agents. And then they've been following this guy for months, 6 months at least. Supposedly, the threat that was issued on social media, I do not condone. Nobody should be threatening the president with execution, I don't care how bad he is. Never should happen. But the FBI going and following this guy, knowing he only goes to church and to his doctor's appointments, knowing that he goes out of the house for those events, could have easily taken him. When he goes out after following him for months, they know his exact routine. He was unable to walk or get around very easily. So this guy obviously had pretty serious issues. But yet decided to try to take him at his house and shoot him dead because he was resisting. I think they just don't want people to actually see what's happening. Yeah. The economy was so much better 3 years ago. Gas $4.40 again? Not a question. Yeah, $500 or $700 a house. Oh, it's a joke for the big guy. Make sure he gets his money. Meanwhile, we look at what's happening in Ukraine, and we can't say it's going well at all. We know Russia has fired multiple, or let's say hundreds of missiles over the last 2 days, hitting targets all throughout Ukraine, including Western Ukraine right on the border. At least 3 dozen missiles were fired in a strike that struck far from the front lines on the western side of Ukraine. At least 3 dozen missiles struck on the western side of Ukraine, right on the border, but in Ukraine. They are not playing around with what Russia's doing. Took out more grain silos and more warehouses with the grain and everything else. Not only that, taking out massive amounts of weapon depots this week. One overnight attack hit factories, of course, Swedish manufacturers in Ukraine and other manufacturers, only about 55 miles from the Poland border, killing their production capability of weapons. Of course, Ukraine's claiming that the facility was not part of any military infrastructure, but yet we know that Swedish factory was producing parts for their autonomous drone boats. So it is truly sad. And one of the missiles that shot down, of course, and Lviv, landed, of course, in a yard of a kindergarten And I hate to say this, but Zelensky is an idiot at this point. They shot down one missile, landing in the yard of a kindergarten, near blocks from apartments, sparking fires and damage to more than 100 homes, blaming it on Russia because they shot this missile down over citizens. It's Russia's fault. Oh my gosh, this is a true joke of what's happening, the catastrophe that's unfolding. And Russia's warning of more nuclear catastrophe. Of course, the U.S. and Europe and everybody else is trying to say that Russia's planning a false flag strike again to spread radioactive pollution across Europe, with Zelensky with the Zaropol power plant going down again and having more issues. Russia was straight up saying Ukraine is shelling its own nuclear power plant. Publicly, internationally, it's saying it. But yet, nobody's doing anything about it. At the same time as he's speaking out, Westerners, of course, are saying that Russia's planning a false flag operation to blame Ukraine for a nuclear leak, which would trigger, of course, the radioactive pollution across Europe. So wait, Russia's reporting that this is happening. Nobody wants to listen, and instead they're going to say, oh, well, Russia's just planning something. We're shelling near the power plant, but Russia is planning something. A false flag event with the power plant. Kiev said they have to keep regularly shelling to stop heavy weapons from being moved in near the power plant. So they're not denying that they're doing this. Oh my goodness. It is a joke at this point. Russia's managing to land freaking rockets on the moon. Russia's Luna 25 spacecraft entered lunar orbit today. A multi-billion-dollar project that started after this war, or this incursion into Ukraine started. So Russia's doing so bad, but they're spending massive amounts of money on sending a craft to the moon? Billions of dollars? It is a joke at this point. We're sending aid to Ukraine that can't even keep their heads above water, massively depleting our stockpiles for any kind of war. Yeah. China and Russia is going to adopt more warships. Be prepared. It is just crazy. The stuff that's unfolding, it is just ridiculous at this point. And Niger, of course, I know you guys, we've been talking about what's happening in Africa, but Niger today had a first major jihad attack since the coup. They killed, of course, 17 people and wounded dozens of others because the fueling Western views. Westerners, they're trying to push back to reclaim the mines and reclaim the territory where the pipeline is. It is a joke at this point. I mean, it's France mostly, but we're involved. Yeah, China's going to be victor as well. We look at what's happening now. Russia's stepping up oil production while OPEC's slowing it down, working together. They're going to keep working together. Ukraine's grain exports are going to be pretty much wiped out after, of course, this latest bombing from Ukraine or Russia. Massive targets across Ukraine got hit this week, and they're planning more attacks. Russia's barely used anything so far, and people are saying Russia's out of this war. I don't think people realize Russia's just pulled thousands of tanks from storage. Not hundreds, 2,200 2,270 tanks. I mean, we have T-62 tanks filling the battlefield. Of course, the newer tanks are coming online as well. So pulling out these modernized T-62s and their newer tank onto the battlefield, this is crazy. Nobody's talking about Russia having massive reserves of these weapons. Of course, now we know that they were using obsolete weapons in the first place. T-72s are on the battlefield now and heading towards Ukraine. This is a massive uptake. So be prepared. U.S., of course, NATO definitely involved in. I'm going to say the U.S. is definitely involved in hits and attacks directly on Russian soil at this point. Because we can't stand to lose a war that we shouldn't be involved in the first place. One American citizen to another. Pray for our country at this point. Our officials don't care about you or me. Our Congress doesn't care. Our White House doesn't care. The people that make the laws and fund the wars don't care about American citizens. We're seeing that in Hawaii right now. God bless you guys. God bless America, of course. Hang in there. Hang in there as long as you can and keep your head up above water. God bless you guys. I will see you guys, of course, Friday night at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Till then, be safe and be prepared. Seriously, be more prepared than you've been. God bless you guys. Good night.